One of the biggest investors in the world said there's two cryptos you should own. What are they? Well, we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about Xrp and Hbar. Those are two cryptos as well. The S&P 500 and other stocks roar on CPI data, but crypto didn't. We'll talk the latest odds, your odds, along with...
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
Along with dongs, schlongs, and gongs. No, I'm kidding. We're getting rid of the heat map, and we're going to keep with the altcoin season index. Why? Because it's hot AF, baby. Look at this, 66 out of 100, with the majority of the alts just beating the ever-living crap out of BTC, which is up only 8% in the last 90 days, while the majority of our favorites like Xrp and Hbar, which we'll talk about later, are up 41 and 50% respectively. What do you think? Well, you think 66% of you, that is, think Jerome Powell's cutting. 34% of you say he's pausing. 100% of players in the CME group are saying, yo, he's cutting. 92% say it's quarter. 7.3% say it's a 50. Now, you, the viewer, matter most, so I'm going to give you some viewer comments. Thought I'd give you a little bit of the tip first. Alcoholic Click channel member says there's no money like ho, ho, ho money. Yeah, around Christmas time should be juicy. By then, regs for alts will be fully in place. ETFs will be fully in place as well. Now, look, I've got a bunch of dates. Hbar ETFs, XRP Wisdom Tree ETF dates. I'm going to have them all linked in the description down below. You're like, bro, why don't you read them off? Dude, this list is freaking huge. There are over 90 ETFs right now, and I've got two articles that have a ton of them for you. New dates, why? Because the SEC keeps delaying. So I'm going to have those linked down below. But the alts, baby, the alts are looking good. Like I said, majority of them are beating BTC. Volume, it's a little on the softer side, 145 billion. Why is that soft? Because lately we've been hitting close to 200 billion. The S&P 500 hits an all-time high at 65.87 as the Dow surges 600 points. But what happened to crypto? Crypto didn't surge today. No, it didn't. In fact, crypto had a little bit of a struggle only right away. Why? Well, because CPI data came in hot, but the stocks started moving. The Dow Jones climbed up 617 points, ending the day at 46,108, while the NASDAQ climbed to 22,000. All three indices hit new intraday highs and settled at record closing levels. Woo! The gains followed a messy batch of inflation numbers. CPI for August was 0.4% for the month. We were talking about like high gas prices, energy, housing, food. What a mess. But the stock market was like, yo, we know we're going to get rate cuts, so guess what? We're looking forward. The stock market, though, didn't react as bullishly. Now, one of the biggest investors in the world says, yo, only need exposure to two cryptos. Who is it and what are they? Well, it's Mr. Wonderful. Oh, God, gag me with the spoon. And he says you should only own BTC and ETH, rejecting other cryptos. The longtime Shark Tank host and mega investor now claims that he's exclusively sticking with BTC and ETH. He's convinced that there's no need to own any other tokens, including meme cryptos. I think it all depends on, honestly, what your risk appetite is. You got to remember, my guy here is a lot older than a lot of us. The older you get, usually the less risk you want to take. The younger you are, the more risk you can take because you got more years to make up for that risk if it doesn't go your way. He says you don't need to own any of these to get exposure to whatever you think the value of crypto it is. You own any of these two, you are exposed to over 90% of the alpha and the volatility of the entire crypto market. So why own anything else? I don't anymore. Honestly, because he doesn't believe in alts. The reason he doesn't believe in alts is I believe a lot of his firms are big into BTC and ETH. So of course he's going to pimp a lot of stuff that he owns. Blockchain lender Figure soars 30% after NASDAQ debut. Okay, look, this is not as juicy as Circle's IPO. They only went up like 30%. Here's their chart. Like, you know, we saw what Circle's chart did. Circle's chart was melting faces. This is the cringy, like, YouTube influencer version of melting faces where, like, it really wasn't melted. Blockchain lender Figure Technology is the latest crypto company to go public on Thursday. Figure debuted on NASDAQ after raising $750 million in its IPO. The company shares listed at $25, but soared to almost $32 on Thursday afternoon and closed at what, everyone? Closed at $31.11 after hours right now, $30.80. So yeah, up about 20% over the day. So again, not bad, but not circle hot. BlackRock to tokenize ETFs after success of the Bitcoin fund. Look, these companies just want to tokenize everything. Why? They want a piece of the pie. So they don't care if it's their own ETFs. They just want to tokenize so they can keep making money. For real. We're going to see tokenization of everything. Watch this trend explode. But how does retail make money on tokenization? Right? I mean, think about it. Unless you get in on that tokenized asset, you can make some money off of it. But I think the real people that make money off of it are the issuers of those tokenized assets. Overall, crypto market 47 out of 100 for fear and greed. Market cap is 3.97 trillion. Hbar is looking good. Yes, we've rebounded from those lows just north of 21 cents. I think a lot of Hbar fans are feeling good about the 10% move from that point on now. Volume $250 million, 254 million right now. But I think Hbar fans are wondering, yo, where's the juice going to come from? It's going to come from regs, honestly. I mean, ETF decisions, like I said, I've got them linked down below. Got some dates here for you, Hbar fans, in those articles. Yes, ETFs will definitely help, but regs are going to help even more. Now, will Hbar benefit from things outside of ETFs and regs like rate cuts? Sure, of course. I think everything will. Rising tide raises all ships, right? And that's what happens with rate cuts, right? Volatile assets, it's a lot easier for players to get in on that. The only thing is, though, is regs we're looking at October into November, and rate cuts, I know. The market is saying, look, we're getting them. Y'all, about 66% of you are saying you're getting them. A third of us are saying no. I'm part of that 34% that say he's pausing, by the way. That's where my vote is. He's pausing. Oh, and by the way, if you want to vote, it's linked in the description down below. So, Hbar fans, I'm still saying the biggest move is going to come from Regaroni season, which is right around the bend. So, Hbar fans, you're looking for time to stack? Now, in my opinion, is that time. Ecosystem news for Hbar really hasn't moved the needle. You know, we talk about partnerships and so forth. We really haven't seen much juice come from Hbar on those ecosystem announcements. We talk about tokenization for Hbar. That hasn't moved the needle at all. Partnerships hasn't done anything. So, honestly, it's regs. A little bit of Jerome Powell and the Fed. And yeah, we'll get some moves on some spot ETF action. XRP, now that we don't have the SEC anymore, we're looking at what? Yeah, regs. I do believe, though, that XRP will move more in the ETF market. Why? There's a crap ton more ETFs for XRP than there are Hbar. A crap ton more. There's going to be a lot more interest in there, a lot more institutional money for XRP. Volume for XRP is at $5 billion, again, comparatively to Hbar at $250 million. So what does that tell you? 20 times the volume for XRP as it is for Hbar. So you get those ETF products out there. I think you're going to get a lot more institutional players into XRP. That's going to be another catalyst. So a little different story for XRP than it is for Hbar. You're looking at big catalysts in the spot ETF market for XRP along with regs. Rate cuts, yeah, but again, the market is balancing out rate cuts with, did Jerome screw the economy over with jobs? So it's kind of one of those like two double-sided swords, double-sided snakes, two-headed snakes sort of things, right? Where one is good, one is bad. Yeah, you have to cut rates, but the reason you have to cut rates is because jobs suck, so it's kind of, you know what I mean? Overall, though, XRP, Hbar, we feel pretty good. I think we both can, or we can say for both of these right now, we've bottomed out, right? That end of August, beginning of September action, we've kind of come up from the bottoms of there. Again, if Congress could get stuff done with regs a lot quicker, it'd be a lot nicer for us. Price action, new friend zone, right? This is the new friend zone where we're at right now. I'll take it. $3 friend zone for XRP. It's a hell of a lot better than that $2, $2.30 range that we're hanging out in for a while. So when you hear a lot of these bigs out there saying, yo, I'll only get into BTC, or yo, I'll only pick these two, remember, these players out there are ultra fiscally conservative. And a lot of them are a lot older than you and I. And as the older you get, you take less chances, you take less risk. Younger people can take more risk because they got time to make up if it turns out to be a mistake. So remember the author. So if the author is an older person out there, they don't want to take the crazy risk that a lot of altcoin players do. And a lot of altcoin players are taking that risk because we don't have the regs yet. So it's easy for certain people like Mr. Wonderful to say, yo, I get into BTC and ETH only. Yeah, because those two have been given the golden pass. I mean, it's like me saying the Bulls were the best team of the 90s. Yeah, because it already happened and Michael Jordan is the GOAT, baby. Like, it's easy to say what happened already rather than saying the future, you know what I mean? Now, that being said, would you be shocked, though, if these same players that are saying BTC and ETH a few years down the road are talking about certain altcoins? No, of course they are. Once the regs come in and the alts and the ETFs start going into play, they're going to then be changing. They're going to be going like, you know, those alts, I've been really into them. And I mean, now that they're up 30, 40, 50, 300%, yeah, I've been talking about them. They're in my portfolios. And yeah, I believe you should. They're going to be just like that. I mean, the same banks that were like, yo, stablecoins suck, we don't want any part of this, are now the same banks that are like, we're going to make our own stablecoin because we believe they're going to help us with cross-border payments, even though a few years ago we said stablecoins are stupid. It's just how it is, man. Players are going to turn, and then all of a sudden when it makes money, they want to get in on that action. Speaking of getting in on that action, are you shocked at the numbers for the channel here? We are a hawkish group. A third of us are thinking, and I'm one of the third, no cuts. I'm thinking Jerome's going to pause one more time. Might cause the market to poop itself a little bit. But then he would have to what? Yeah, probably drop it to 50 the next time around to make up for it. Hopefully not. Hopefully he cuts it a quarter, and hopefully cuts it a quarter one more time before the end of the year. But look, right now, market expectations are guaranteed a quarter. Slight chance that we'll get a 50 on the next FOMC meeting, which is what, girlfriend? Oh, it's only less than a week away, which we'll have a live stream for. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out, because the live streams are freaking awesome. Chat is always cool as shit. And speaking of things that are cool as shit, well, how about this thing behind me? Oh, yes. Oh, you want to see it a little bit better? How about that? Oh, yeah. Choo-choo what? Choo-choo bitches, girlfriend.